started the stream. I'll
Cool,
give you the
cool.
link.
Yeah, give me a link.
And can you paste the link in? Actually, let me see. I'm gonna do it. Oh, I don't need to. What the fuck? It's automatic.
Oh yeah, it does that. I thought you did that because I took that from you.
Bro, you think I'm a genius, man? Bro, you think I'm a genius?
Bro, you are a genius, okay? Don't let these internet people tell you otherwise.
Yeah, they will tell me I'm dumb. They tell me I'm dumb, man. Okay, okay, looking good, guys. What's up? The audio body of motherfucking course. Let's go. Okay, my moderators. Can I even do that? Huh. Okay, so I need to go to my own fucking. I understand what I need to do. Just give me a second. I'm gonna make you guys mods. I need to do. Just give me a second. I'm. Okay, off. Where's off?
Yo, is that my guy off? What's up, dude?
Off. Veronica. I'm gonna give Veronica. Okay. Moderator. And we're gonna wait for Javi. I always get confused by his name. He always.
I'm looking at chat. We got Veronica. We got Shibo.
Yeah,
We got
let's settle in
Dano.
though. Let's settle in. Let's get comfortable. By the way, guys, do you see this tree? We set
It's
it
the
up.
Christmas tree, bro.
Yeah, we set it up today together. Me and Oaf decided to, like, you know, hey man, because we got no time then. So Christmas tree. There's a little like, there is this Santa Claus fucker there, and you can see him. He's sitting. That's what I put there, because I'm like, dude, it would be so fucking cool if people could see that shit. What's up, guys? Sassy shirt. Dos Dano, man. Come on, bro. Thank you, man. Hello, SEE Social too. Yeah, my brother. Yo, V. We are brothers, bro. Let me see something. I'm still setting things up, guys. Just saying. So.
Hey, Javi.
Javi's there? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me just see something. I'm gonna set everything up for you guys.
Where is our SEE sexual 2 now? Bro, I'm the SEE sexual 2, okay?
You are?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're the SEE social 2. I'm the SEE sexual
No.
2,
I thought
okay?
I'm an ESC. What happened?
Fuck, okay. You're the ESC social 8. I'm the SEE sexual 2.
What kind of a fuckfest is that, eh? Wait. How do I fucking do this, bruh? How do I set this shit? Am I fucking slow?
Veronica, the world isn't ready for ILI
I'm gonna
Rust
make.
yet. That's 2025
Where's
meta.
Javi? Where's Javi? Javi. Okay, I see him. Javi, enjoy the mod.
Are all the mods in now?
Yeah, they're all there.
All right, boys, time to execute Order 66.
60, which means decapitation. Listen, the first impression is the most important, and that means line them all up and shoot them. It's a joke, just so people will not actually think I'm serious. I have to actually specify this because people want to take it seriously.
This is a prank. We are pranking right now. This is a joke. Look at the camera.
I'm still to add mods. Community. Where the fuck is? Okay.
In this video.
La. In this video, silence, bro. I don't want to hear you. Oh, I didn't see that. There's a setting. Oh shit. Okay, guys, sorry. Guys, sorry. It took a bit of time, but I had to check some stuff on the YouTube studio. But guys, what do you think about this shit? This new layout. We have the ring there, like I think it looks pretty cool.
I like it.
And, well, we tried to go for the professional look, didn't we? We already moved from ILI Rust. Bro, the funniest thing about that incident was I genuinely believed that he was asking Ring. Like, I believed. I'm like, lol, Ring. Yeah, Ring. I don't think Ring would ever consider ILI for himself, right? He's way too goofy. And then I fucking realized he meant me. I was actually shook. I'm like, there's no way. Like, even, like, you would have to. I don't even know what you'd have to do to distort me so much to make it fit into ILI. It's crazy, man.
In someone's socionic system, you probably do process your information as an ILI somewhere, somehow.
And that makes sense because I'm still supposed to be similar enough with an ILI where we can understand each other the same wavelength, right? So I do think that should be the case.
That's a good point because you're kind of like an ILI is like you, but if you like wore your shirt backwards and upside down and like reversed.
I was about to say ILI would be like if I didn't wear my shirt, but then I realized that wouldn't be an ILI but an ESC, and that kind of all went through the window. That kind of fucked up, It's just jokes, guys. Don't worry. Just jokes. Anyone watching this fucking stream? Did you already post it on the Enneagram board, or no?
Yeah. I posted it yesterday.
Rusted shirtology.
Rusted shirtology.
Lusted typology, rusted typology. There's so many.
Bro,
Rusted
typology is underrated.
Javi Kami asks, Rust, what would be your type if you were not an 8?
Ooh, that's a good one because you don't relate to a lot of the course.
That's a really good one because I never really considered any other alternative for me ever, really. And it would be hard. I don't know if other people who are Enneagram 8 have the same problem, but when I read other cores, I don't really look at them and relate to them to the point where I'm like, wow, if I wasn't this, I would be that. Of course, we have like social too, and I relate to it, right? There's overlap. The influence, the attitude to emotionality, the independence, okay. But I'm not sure if I would look, because once I start reading, I'm like, of course, that's clearly not me. But if I was to think if I was... I'd have to be like an SP7 maybe, maybe. I'm not sure. What do you think, Rain? What would I have to be if I wasn't like an Enneagram 8?
You got multiple avenues actually, because like, okay, sure, you have your Enneagram like neighbor, the 7, which makes 7 feel really good. Then you also have options like, let's say, in the 2, right? Which is also similar to 7, and it has kind of like overlaps with 8 at times, right?
That's the problem. So it's like social 2 or
Yeah.
SP7, to be honest, like realistically.
Yeah. I would say so. I would say so as well. I even considered like 4 or even like a weird 1, but they don't fit you as much. I think we would be looking at 2 or 7. If 8, let's say that we forgot 8 doesn't exist anymore, you would be either a 7 or a 2.
Sometimes I kind of look at sexual 1 and I'm like, wow, like I see some of sexual 1 in me, not that I read the fucking book, but just like the most basic behavior, sometimes ramming people's heads for believing things that are not true, and I'm like, yeah, wow, man, wow, sexual 1, here we go. But maybe,
yeah, and the sexual 1 is such an interesting case, and of course, everyone's talking about that sexual 1 versus SP8 dilemma in Arcane. with what's her name? The warlord mother of the one of
Oh
the main
fuck,
characters.
Ambessa.
And
Ambessa.
Bessa, that has
Yeah,
been
yeah,
such a
yeah.
huge debate between Sexual 1 or SP8, and it's got people twisted. What do you think?
Fuck. It's such a hard thing because I don't think Ambessa is the only one. I actually think
Yeah.
another great example of this confusion, and pragmatists should kind of look into this in the movie Avatar, especially in the movie Avatar 2. We are there's Colonel Quaritch, I think that's his name, Quaritch, I think, and he is someone who used to get typed as an SLE social A. I used to type him as that, which now looking back, to be honest, superficial. Complete superficial reasoning. If someone was a social 8 in Avatar, it would be certainly Jake Sully. It would never be Quaritch. But moving on from that, Quaritch is an interesting guy who gets almost typed like an SLE SP8. But things don't really make sense because he seems like a very rational guy. He's a military guy, a fucking disciplined, hard-headed individual who wants to kind of get rid of the fucking avatars, right? Because he has a mission and he will eliminate all of them. And that's the mentality he has. Almost like he wants to tame nature and for them to be civilized because he thinks they're not civilized. So he's gonna decapitate them. And that's his fucking job.
And you're seeing a lot of reaction formation as well, the E1 trait, right?
Yes, and that's kind of what happens with Quaritch. And guys, again, pragmatist, look up Quaritch, you know? Even just watch the movie, even just watch Avatar 2 because of Quaritch. Because I think he's a great example of an LSE sexual 1 that isn't as obvious to people. Because he's not someone who's like, oh, I just want to be perfect. I want to make you to be perfect. It's not that superficial, which I think it would be something that you'd relate to much more than maybe even like Terence Fletcher, who wants everyone to be perfect when it comes to playing a fucking drum or something, you know? So there is that.
Speaking of which, there was a character that you were talking about. I think that was the main character. Jake Sully is the main character of Avatar.
Jake Sully is been a pain for me, which is why I want pragmatists to watch him. But there is possibility of a social 8 for him, because in the first scenes of the movie, what do we really see? We see him, Jake, in a human form, on a wheelchair. So he's an army veteran, he's on a wheelchair. We see him in a bar and he gives a speech. He talks about, like, you know, the world is fucking shit and how it's only the strong ones preying on the weak. And he kind of starts like this. And then the camera moves to a man beating a woman. So Jake on a wheelchair goes up to the fucking man and starts kicking, like literally starts just punching him. And then he gets kicked out, literally thrown out, fucking face fucking on the pavement, laughing, enjoying himself. So very reckless, very impulsive, but people kind of do think he's a social 9, and I can see why they think that, but I'm also very surprised by that, I guess,
That is so interesting. I think I watched the first movie maybe years ago. The second one I did watch in the theaters. I totally forgot he was in a wheelchair.
He was.
He was totally, yeah. Like, I forgot that. That is so interesting. And I will say right now, my vibe of him was a social 9, but what you described there got me thinking. That is really interesting.
He seems like a social, he's like a weird blend, but we have to see him as a very impulsive and reckless guy. He literally jumps into action with no fucking thinking. Like, and you can say that's social 9, but because we have people saying social 9 is low will. I'm sorry, but he's now a low will. There's nothing low will about this fucking guy. So
I agree with that.
And he's very action oriented. He doesn't think, oh my god, like we need peace. We need peace. I'm gonna avoid confrontation. No, he is gonna literally jump into confrontations in order to help to save whatever, right? To be the hero, to be the savior, to be the rescuer. So it's kind of weird for me,
Yeah, for sure. I definitely want to rewatch because you made great points here. I want to see the lust. We know that social eight is the
Okay,
counter type of the E8s,
yeah,
but it's still an E8 at the end of
but
the day.
think. Okay. Let's propose an idea. Think about what he does. He is on a wheelchair. He doesn't feel alive. Picks a random fight in a bar because someone is bullying another person. First of all, the way he went about is what kind of a social nine goes out in a bar, talks about how fucking strong, prey on the weak, and start beating the shit out of a guy.
Hmm.
We already starting with a very strange fucking introduction. Second, this guy is in a wheelchair, and in the first movie, as you remember, maybe he then is in this avatar body. So he starts kind of like walking, and he's so excited. People are telling him, yo, sit down, like don't fucking sit down. You're huge, because he's a huge. Avatars are fucking huge and very strong. So they're kind of trying to calm him down, but he's like, fuck that, I'm not. He basically pushed everyone away and left the fucking facility. And first thing he did was to start running, to feel the sand in his
Mm.
fucking feet, to actually be able to go crazy, and that's the first thing he fucking did, which it seems like a small kind of detail, but I think that's a detail that could lean into lust, which is, feeling of aliveness and disregard for any consequences, which is kind of like Jake Sully, to be honest.
That's really interesting. And that I like I said, I really need to rewatch that first movie. I see him in the second movie where he's definitely a little bit more tame than the first movie, but I do remember tidbits of that, and I don't think Social Aid is actually bad for Jake
It's not.
Sully.
It's not. Again,
I
pragmatist. Avatar 2, I want your breakdown. Personally, uh, you're good. You're good. So we will see. We will see.
here's
Now,
some homework for you.
we got some homework for you, man. You think you can be in this chat with no fucking homework? Okay,
Nah,
let's go through some of
pragmatist
the
gotta work.
questions. Someone says, I can't even fucking say their name. Aris asks, I would like to ask you, does LSI type fit FLVE? First of all, guys, we're trying to do Enneagram only. This is Enneagram, but no. Off topic, LSI does not fit 2L. There's nothing 2L about TI base, okay? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So Russ and I had this idea. We're gonna spend the first hour at least doing Enneagram questions at all. And then at the later half of the stream, we'll open up the questions to all typology. You guys can go ham. So for right now, I want you all to think about your Enneagram questions. Because we have a bunch of people from Enneagram and we want to make sure we answer and focus on that topic. So yeah, thank you all a
Yeah,
bunch.
yeah, good job. Very good job, Ring, because we do want people to stay on topic. Because sometimes I've noticed my streams were just super organized, but this we're trying to do something different here, trying to do something more productive and be on point with it. But let's look at some of the other questions. SO8 intellectual. Uh, I play Marvels. Yes, we do play Marvels. Um, I think social aid loss manifests in their intense thirst for justice and the intensity that comes with fighting for it. That kind of could work for Jake. I mean, that's the point. He's lit. I mean, what is he in Avatar 2? He's literally the protector of his family, and he says, "I don't have a plan. I don't have any ideas. I don't have a plan. But what I can do is protect our family. That's what I can do." And that does capture Jake as a fucking. I don't want to be biased because I was watching Avatar 1 and 2. I related to Jake Sully. To me that was like my kin, the most relatable kin, because he's so tribal. Even people told us that the mannerisms are similar, and his youthful energy in the Avatar 1 and his transformation to a more mature individual, I found it very relatable. But if he's a social 9, he's a fucking social 9. I don't give a fuck. It is what it is.
And that kind of goes into like a topic. Now, this just reminded me of it. I know
Yeah,
that you already believe in this, but there's a lot of people in the community that feel like if a character you relate to is not your exact typology,
yeah.
you're not like allowed to like relate to it. And I think that's one of the wildest things.
And
Uh,
it's kind of
yeah.
shitty because many people like, oh, well, I changed my typology, now I need to change my kin. Well, he's your kin because you relate to him
Yeah.
regardless, right?
And it's super interesting because I have kins that are social 3. I have kins that, of course, social 7. I think I have one or two social 2s in there. I think I definitely have E1s. And people are really like, I really used to like, and I see it too when like the community consensus on certain types change over time. Like, you know how Jace went from like a social 3, which honestly wasn't that a fit, to a social 7. And some people are like, oh, now I really relate to Jace when they didn't relate before, or that they're E3 and they're like, no, Jace has to be E3 because I relate and I'm also E3. It's
Yeah.
just so interesting because like even though even though our core fixations are different, that doesn't necessarily mean that our external mannerisms are going to be that different from each other. I mean, look at all these sexual instinct Enneagram cores. Almost all of them are invasive. They have kind of like a possession thing going on. They have this thing where they want to merge. And almost all of these sexual subtypes in modern Enneagram are like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if a sexual 8 relates to a sexual 4, or a sexual 4 even relates to a sexual 1. Yeah, because there's similar mechanisms there. And even the sexual 5, we're talking about stinge, we're talking about avarice. The sexual 5 is extremely invasive too. They'll go out of their comfort and try to possess, intertwine, interact with the energy of someone else. Why can't a sexual 5 relate to a sexual 8 in that way, or even a sexual 1 in that way? I know that's crazy because
Yeah,
the
but
types are still really different.
you
You
can,
absolutely can.
and I think that's the problem with typology. Sometimes people fixate on specific details that they relate to across all different types. Like you can find any type that has some similarity and you'll relate to it. I mean, it shouldn't be that weird. It shouldn't be that weird. But okay, let's move on to some of that. By the way, I wish I could pull up questions on StreamYard. I could do it. I don't know how to do this shit on OBS. I'm not even sure if I can fucking do that shit, to be honest with you. I'm not even
Yeah,
sure I can do it.
if anyone knows how to pull up questions on OBS, let us know in the chat.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think it's possible. But can you talk about unhealthy social 2 you met in real life? I've never met an unhealthy social 2 in my life. They're very rare. American Pragmatist asked. He was asking. Let me see what the fuck he was. What's the difference between Enneagram 2, Enneagram 3, and Enneagram 7 narcissism? Ring, what do you think? What are the differences in the narcissistic expression?
That is a heavy hitting question right from the get go. We're looking at E2, E3, and E7. I will say that E2 and E7 have this similarity where they have this feature of overabundance. Of course, the E2 is innately overabundant. That is a feature of the core. And for those who don't know what overabundance means, it's this idea that the E2s are capable, that they are better off than others, that they have things that others don't have, that separates them, and they're able to even care for others because they're more adapted to doing so. The E7 also sees themselves in that way of being very capable, being able to do whatever they set their mind to. And this really connects to their fantasy seeking as well. And the E3 has a lot of similar defense mechanisms to the E2 and the E7, where they're similar to the E2, where they want to show that they are efficient, that they know what they're doing, that they're also capable. But a lot of times the E3s also dip into kind of like what the E7s are doing, right? Where it's like this future orientation, this planning orientation as well. I know that Ichazo and Naranjo associate a lot to E7 in terms of planning, but one of the reasons why Naranjo didn't like the word planning the same way Ichazo did is because the E1 and the E3 also plan. So why am I saying all this? The narcissism is actually something they have all in common, I would say, with each other. Now, the E7 is defined by narcissism a lot more. The E3 has a narcissism to it, but it's mostly localized in the social three. I think that the other E3s have a
Yeah.
little bit less narcissism, especially the SP3. They have a different type of like self-belief. They won't be a reference person, sure, but I'm not sure if I would consider narcissism. The social two, of course, has the
Yeah,
highest amount of narcissism
that's the fucking uber
in
narc. That's the fucking uber narc.
yeah.
Yeah.
The similarity is all three of these types, right? They are very much want conversations to revolve around them. We don't want people to think that when Naranjo and Ichazo designed these archetypes that they meant narcissism in the DSM-5 type of way, which is the diagnostic tool for psychologists. They meant that in a way of like looking yourself in the mirror, type like Narcissus, the original origins of narcissism, and being obsessed with yourself. And the social two, the social three, and all the E7s are very much obsessed with themselves. So I'd actually answer your question by saying that the aspect of narcissism is actually very similar. It's other traits with the narcissism that differentiates the three types. That's my answer to you.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, narcissism is fucking narcissism. If you
Yeah, and
if I give you a narcissistic scale, it doesn't look at different. It looks at the narcissistic traits. So narcissism is narcissism, but there are other attributes that go along with maybe a different manifestation of some characteristics. That's all. Like you
yeah,
said.
and just to want to clarify, because you made a good point there too. Narcissism isn't just in E2, E3,
Yeah,
and E7.
narcissism is a human trait, and that's
Yes.
important. People forget. Oh, he's narcissistic. Sure. How narcissistic? Because that's
Yep.
important. Because people assume narcissism equals bad, but the reality is, if you have too little narcissism, you lack any self-love. You lack self-respect. You are someone who doesn't think highly of himself, which actually is a detriment. Now, of course, you want to have a healthy narcissism rather than an inflated sense of self, which means you're just better and more capable than everyone else because you exist and you have a big ball sack. That's not fucking good.
What was that thing you said to me? It was a joke, by the way. But that thing you said to me, I think we were gaming the other
Yeah.
week, and you're like, "Sorry, Ring, I can't hear you. My dick is too big."
Yeah,
This was
yeah,
a joke, people.
something like that. It's of course it's a meme, but that's kind of how it is. And so in the end, it's a spectrum. Narcissism is a spectrum, But fuck it, we circle jerk that shit way too fucking much. Let's go. Some other questions. I had this one question from Orange Enjoyer. Where the fuck is Orange Enjoyer? Orange Enjoyer. How can Enneagram 9 have trouble with their image? How could they mistake them for an Enneagram 4? I will start and I'll say, is it possible that a 9 core might mistake themselves for a 4 core? Sure. And that's gonna work. Maybe because you might have how to say it, your perception of the type of the Enneagram 4 and the Enneagram 9 is not very accurate. Because, the Enneagram 4 is deep and it can kind of daydream and it can kind of detach and it can kind of be in his own world. And by reading this, you're an artist. You kind of can become idealistic like this. You then start thinking you can be a fucking sexual 9, for example. You can be a 9 core at that point. But that would be a hyper-specific trait, So if that's the reason why you're considering both, because maybe you have depth, maybe, sure. But in reality, a 9 core is a very concrete individual who, at the end of the day, they use this sensorics to numb themselves. Really, that's it. At the end of the day, they cope with the world by numbing themselves, by routine. Basically, imagine as a caricature, a person who's sitting on YouTube and just watching brain dead content, like literally just fucking indulging, okay? Because they don't have to think, they don't have to be in touch with their emotions, and that's a big differentiation. Enneagram 4 doesn't really do that. They are deeply in touch with their emotions, and even when they're coping, they are even more in touch with that. So that is my take, and I want to see what Ring says.
I agree with you. I think this was a huge mistype back in the day, and hate saying back in the day. It ages us up, but back in the day, every single FI base was like E9. E9 was like the super like um what people attribute to E4 was in their eyes E9. And you really explained that well, so I'm not going to jump right into those type of comparisons.
Yep,
I
yep.
will say that in terms of the subtype, if you are a sexual 4, it was unlikely that you mistyped as an E9. It is
Yeah, it's I
possible.
would say it's even unironically, I don't think you're a sexual four. If you actually considered 9, I don't think you're a sexual four. That's how I would say. You know, maybe I'm fucking jumping a gun, but I just don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's super interesting. I would say it's the least likely for sure. Sexual 4 has a very different neurosis and defense mechanism, especially with their own personal lack and enthronement situation going on. It's very difficult for me to see a sexual 4 mistype as an E9. I definitely see social
I could
4
see
and
SP4.
S
I
and
could see SP4.
SP4, yeah, both having those moments where they relate to E9, especially because sometimes there is this kind of they want to move away from themselves, the lack.
Mm.
They tend to be a lot more subdued. And then even back in the day, even now, E9 is looking at the conflict avoidant mediator ambassador type, especially like the social 9. I can see social 4s and SP4s being those type of peacekeepers, those mediators. That's something that they're underrated for sure. The
Yeah.
E4s being
Oh
mediators of
yeah,
sort.
bro.
That was completely given to
It's
E9.
very true because I mean my own wife, which obviously we know types as an SP4, she typed as an Icor, and she related to the I don't want to be a burden, right? Okay, I
Hmm.
don't want to be a burden to people, which is I don't want to kind of I feel like the world swallows me. I don't want to kind of be part of it where I take space. So I'm gonna minimize myself. And I want to keep people happy. I can be kind of that way. That must mean I'm a 9. At least from that perspective of someone who's new, you could see how that makes sense. But guess what? Not a 9 core at all. A fucking SP4.
Hmm.
Okay, we are moving on. By the way, about the chat overlay, I will need to do it. I'll try to do it next stream. So be patient. Obviously, I can't do that shit right now. I'm a fucking genius. That would take some fucking. I would first of all, I'll be here like trying to fix shit. What am I? A fucking mechanic? No. So no. But let's proceed to more questions. I will try to answer as many as I can, guys. Just make sure. How did the intellectualism of the Enneagram 8 change? What was and is now Naranjo's perspective? What was Naranjo's perspective for many years was that the SP8 is the action-oriented, the social 8 is the intellectual, and the sexual 8 is the emotional. Now, throughout, with the new books, apparently, but I've also heard contradicting opinions about this for some reason. Wait. Okay, so the way it changed was the social 8 became the active one. They are the active, they're the visceral active, while the SP8 became the intellectual one, and the SX8 is basically left to be emotional like it always fucking was. No offense, you know, I'm not, it's okay. But yeah, you know, so I would say that's how it's changed in Naranjo's perspective, at least as far as we know. Maybe the books are gonna change something, maybe we're gonna learn something, but that, as for now, that's what it is. I'll give you my opinion. My opinion, from my observation, if I will look at Enneagram, if I will take a list of Enneagram 8s, all of the Enneagram 8s, and I'm gonna point out all of the 8 cores in history which had a more intellectual inclination, either be it in ideological, anything, it nearly always was the social 8. I'm not saying anything, but I'm definitely saying something, okay? Which is, if a real life pattern confirms something like this, for me personally, it's hard to believe theory. Maybe being stereotypical, but if I see a pattern literally every fucking time, I will believe it. You know, I'm sorry. Even if this motherfucker says, no, I wrote this theory like this. Well, I'm sorry, your theory is fucking wrong because clearly it doesn't even apply to reality. So go fuck yourself, right? And that's kind of how this works. Anyway, Ring, you can add or not add, whatever.
I think you answered well. I want to add on to I think an underrated concept. I think more and more as the community has progressed with its understanding of Enneagram and typology as a whole, and it's gotten, I will say, a lot better at understanding the source materials. My current issue is there's been like a detachment from the theory being applied in real life correctly. We have a great theoretical understanding of certain types,
Exactly.
but can we imagine a real person with those traits?
Exactly. That's why you
I
need
think
me.
there's a disconnect.
Because I will fucking come in and will tell you Naranjo's fucking wrong because look at this, right? Listen. Listen. I'm already hot taken, but I can't fucking help it. The thing is, if the way theory works, right? You have a theory, but I'm assuming your theory came from practical fucking application. You interview people, you gather information, you create a theory. But you make sure that this theory is aligned with the practice, with the practical application. If this fucking doesn't happen, there's a fucking problem. And I think typology was really backwards, you know? Think about it. Who the fuck was leading all of this fucking typology shit? Geeks. Geeks. Okay? Now, we're not geeks, we're nerds. And there's a fucking distinction. But...
Oh, shit.
There is. But listen, there's a difference because most of the time, if you even look at YouTube, you look at there's influential people who were teaching people, they were fucking nerds. They were geeks, sorry. But you get my point, right? So they were fucking geeks. They were 5 course. They were 6 course. They were fucking ILEs, fucking 7 course. They were.
You could say it, bro. There were 7 course.
Sorry, they were geeks. Okay, you can win, but they were geeks. And that actually was a problem because we were so stuck with this theory shit. And I feel like now we are changing. Okay, now practical fucking shit is important. Let's not neglect it. I'm not saying neglect theory, respect theory. But theory has to align with reality. If it fucking doesn't, you're delusional and you're wrong. Simple as. Simple fucking as. Anyway, we're moving on. Fuck this topic. So, Gigameister... Hello, Gigameister, is saying, I'm starting to believe 1v Social 5 is fake. That's just social. My friend, listen, my friend. I would say you don't need to ask for my thoughts because I never believed 1v Social 5 is a fucking thing, okay? 1v 5 core is a what kind of a abomination of a creation is this? You know what? You went to a laboratory and fucking create some lab rat experiment gone wrong. 1v5 core? Come on, you know? No, bullshit. And I don't think I even need to explain because you know the answer. You are smart. That's my take. Okay, let's move on. Hello guys, hello everyone. We do fucking need the fucking overlay.
We definitely do.
Nerds rule the world. My LIE goat Elon Musk is agreeing. No, dude, I don't fucking disagree with you. That's why I said there's a difference between a geek and a nerd. A nerd, bro, nerds, we are nerds. You need to understand something. We are nerds. No one that circle jerks fucking typology every day is not a fucking nerd. Okay, that doesn't mean we can't fuck shit up. That doesn't mean we cannot fucking lift a lot of weight. It doesn't mean that at all. But we are certainly fucking nerds. And that's just the fucking truth about that. Now, geek, the way I view geek in my own fucking dictionary, geek is someone who's like, oh look, trivia. I'm gonna be on the fucking cosplay convention next week. I'm gonna dress up as a fucking ninja, Pokemon, fucking, blah blah blah. That's
yo, bro, based.
Geek. He's a geek. We have a fucking geek on the stream, guys. No, but
yo, fucking based, bro. Yo, lit.
No, but that's the difference. I'm fucking around, bro. I'm just fucking around. You are more geek pilled, or are you more geek pilled or nerd pilled? We should make a quiz about that shit. Okay, going down. Is it worse? What do you think of 3v Social 5? 3v Social 5. That's weird, I would say. Is it weirder than 1V? No, because because social 5 is strong will anyway. It's high will, so maybe it would be actually. PY questions are just boring, bro. I think the real problem.
They really are.
Melly S asking me, Rust, are you a social 8 or a sexual 8? Well, I type myself as a social 8.
He's a social 8 when people like him, and he's a sexual 8 when people dislike him. And he's a sexual 2 when people really dislike him.
Yo, bro, like you wouldn't want to see the other side, right? You know the meme? I have two sides to me, right? The goody two shoes, brotherhood, loyalty, unity, and the other who's gonna give you PTSD and is gonna enjoy the process of giving you PTSD. So it's kind of like two. No, but I do type myself as a social aid, yes. And the reality is subtypes are so blurry, being an 8 core is a problematic thing because I relate to every subtype. To be honest, if we were really honest, I could look at every subtype and I typed as every subtype. That tells you everything. So I relate enough. But the problems with subtypes that people forget, by the way, is that they are really the same. Largely the same. For example, Ring made very good estimates of how similar all the subtypes are, different subtypes. And he did mention the Enneagram 8 has like 80% similarity. It's 80% the same shit. Literally. And 20% some different flavor. So it kind of makes for a difficult time from trying to differentiate. You see this with Enneagram 5. They have hard time telling the difference between subtypes. Fuck, you even have that problem with Enneagram 7. Which you'd think there would be a huge difference.
Yeah, and this is very interesting. I really wanted to make that little chart. If anyone wants to let me know, I have it pinned in the Rusted Typology server. The idea here is that even though these subtypes are described to be different, we found that every single subtype, at least 50 to 60%, are similar, practically the same, verbatim, use the same defense mechanisms. The 5, the 7, and the 8, I feel as though are the biggest proponents of being so similar to each other. It's kind of disgusting. I would say that the 5 and 8, and then even the 7 is probably around 70 to 80% similar to each other. Even in the subtype books, Naranjo's team was like, listen, you're not going to be able to tell which E5 this is. You're not going to get it because they're so similar. The subtypes that are the most different from each other are the E4s and the E6s, but we're still looking at like a 50% similarity anyway, even though they're so different from each other. And that's why fundamentalism, which is what I've been calling...
I love this. I will support this, Look at the core. If you don't relate to it...
Look at the fucking core.
You fucked up. You fucked up because... I typed myself as an 8 core not because I was looking at the subtype. I didn't even know what the fuck a subtype was. I was looking at character and neurosis. I was looking at the fucking pathological shit. And I'm like, well, that's me. Which obviously shouldn't be a good thing. But fuck it, at that time, that's the circumstance. But yeah, like, you look at the core. Look at the core. Oh, am I a social 1? Am I a social 5? Bro, they're not even similar. They're not even similar.
Are you an E1 or an E5, bro?
Literally.
And it happens all the time, especially with those, like, high-risk mistypes. Am I a sexual 4 or a sexual 8? Are you an E4 or are you an E8? Drop the sexual.
I'll tell you this, right? And I know. And I will tell you this. Sexual 4 is more alike with sexual 8 than sexual 2 is alike with sexual 8. And I agree with this. Sure. But for me, as someone who types Enneagram 8, I could never see myself relating to Enneagram 4 or typing myself as Enneagram 4. I could never do that. So that's why sometimes I'm kind of surprised that there's an 8 core who thinks he's a 4. It surprises me. I'm not saying they're mistyped or that they're not Enneagram 8 because I know few people who are in that situation. But for me personally, as a person, me, Rust, I can't fucking imagine it because they're so, to me, I can't imagine being that way as they are described, Enneagram 4 in introjection. Like, I being negative and then I can't fucking. It's weird. It's just weird, you know. Guys, Enneagram questions. If you have questions, Enneagram questions. Guys, yeah.
We're taking the Enneagram questions
we are
right
taking
now.
the Enneagram questions. So if you have any questions, Enneagram Pennywise type. Pennywise type is probably some IE, to be honest.
I've never watched the movies. Never got
Never?
interested. No, no. You're the horror guy, right? So you any horror type things? That's all I need, bro.
I do really like horror. Javi Kami is. I always have an issue saying his name, Javi or Javi. But either way, I hope there's no disrespect. But he's doing a great job in the chat right now, actually responding to everyone, and all of the moderators are fucking amazing.
Shout outs to the moderator team.
Yeah, moderating team is amazing. That's what a good moderator does, though. What the fuck does a good moderator do? Does he just moderate, ban, mute, right? Keep peace, control? No. He also engages with the fucking audience. Audience has questions. Audience doesn't know. This is an educational channel. So the moderator enlightens. The moderator gives knowledge and helps. That's what the fuck they do. Which is why they're fucking goated.
I remember earlier on the stream, Deathwind AE had this question, and she asked, Ring, can a woman be an EA?
Oh, fuck. I see that question, but I was like, damn.
Yeah, I want to actually answer that.
Go ahead.
Because I want to say that my short answer to this is going to be an absolute yes. There's no doubt in my mind that just because
you
are a woman,
I thought there was gonna be a debate about that.
But I wanted to add some nuance to it because there is an element of gender and expression of said gender within Enneagram, especially with the subtypes, with the modern Enneagram. I will say that no matter what you identify with your gender, you will and can be every single subtype. But there are interesting parts of it because our society is organized in a way where if you are a certain gender expression, you will be like influenced into certain directions. For example, a biggest proponent of this is the sexual 3. Sexual 3
big
is
huge difference.
Yeah, you take the deceit mechanism of the core E3. You have this desire to find yourself within a standard that you have chosen, a standard of society, the optimal one, you know? And for the sexual 3, their neuroticism goes into their gender display and being able to attract, intrigue others of their preferred gender while being whatever gender they are. Generally, this was explained with a female sexual 3 and then male male suitors, but of course the world is more complex than that. But the idea there is that definitely depending on your gender expression, you are going to be raised in a different way in modern society, which does
and
influence
you have different difficulties.
Your neurotic core.
And
exactly.
SPA woman, that's difficult. You know, you're gonna have a very difficult time to overcome this because of the expectations put by society on you. And obviously 8-core women probably will not give a fuck. It's not gonna be like, oh wow, I should conform because, you know, they won't. But it doesn't mean that it isn't fucking annoying to deal with, okay? They're human, so they will have their struggles. And it's a bit of a fucking problematic when you have a woman that's, you know, she has all the traits that are really seen as masculine. So it can be hard for them to even probably find partners, date, or not be seen as oh, she's being a bitch just because she's very assertive or she holds her ground, you know. It doesn't take much for a man to be like, oh, she's being a bitch just because he's fucking soft dick motherfucker, you know. As my father would say, he was made by a soft sausage. That's how soft sausage shit, you know.
That's a good one.
Seriously, I've seen girls who like apparently intimidate men, and you talk to them and they're like, well, she's she's a really nice person, she's a nice woman, and you know, she has a feminine touch, you know, but to them she ain't, there's no femininity. She's a fucking over assertive bitch. So it's relative. The way you perceive it is fucking relative. To me, they're normal. To some fucking you know, again, soft sausage made guy, she's oh my god, she's too assertive and shit, you know. So bullshit.
Yeah, and just to summarize once again, we believe that no matter what your gender expression is, you will, and there are examples of subtypes with all gender expression. However, I don't want to erase that there is a very real influence from society on what your gender is and how you'll be raised. That part shouldn't be erased, and it isn't in modern Enneagram, and even in classic Enneagram as well. That's the only point I wanted to make. Great question.
Very good question. And we're looking at people interacting. People are really going heavy with it. Very nice. SP2 is the classic man-child boyfriend who seems fun at first, but once you've been dating him for a while, you see that he's just a whiny man-child who wants you to do everything for him. And
wait, what type?
SP2. SP2. And I would say, you know, SP2 is so funny because it is seen as this like little baby. They want to be a little fucking toddler and some weird shit, but it's not necessarily that way. I find SP2 to try to want to be competent. You know, this is not someone who's just like, I'm a fucking little baby toddler, you know. I feel like that kind of impression of SP8 causes mistypes, but I understand what you're saying. You know, it can be a man who is kind of entitled, kind of privileged, which can come across as petty at times. So I understand the premise. If someone is intellectual but he's sweet and polite, what best type from someone like this? First of all, you are typing by superficialities and hyperfixations. What I mean by this is anyone can be sweet, and there are types who can be more polite than others. Okay? There are also types who are intellectual, some more intellectual than others. This is completely this question cannot really be answered, Makoto, because you are focusing too much on very superficial characteristics. You look at the driving force of someone, what drives them to act out. How are they like when they are unhealthy? How are they like when there's stress? That's what you should look for. Look at the big picture. Don't just fixate on polite, intellectual, sweet. What type is that? Well, what type actually takes a shit and then doesn't flush, for example? What type does that? Right? It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing.
Yeah, while we're on this train, public service announcement. You want to learn Enneagram? You want to know modern Enneagram more than your average peer? Go ahead. Go into the subtype book of every single release modern Enneagram book from Naranjo's team. Go to the second chapter. Read that second chapter. And read about the neurotic fixation of every single modern subtype. And you will learn and know more than 80% of the person left of you and right of you, for sure.
Yeah. And that's the most important, guys, the neurotic need, which is why I made some posts about this on PDB. But neurotic need is so fucking important. And if people stop looking at just the very superficial behavioral traits, they will have an easier time typing. Look at what makes you act out. All of us have this. You might not be aware that this is something that makes you act out this way, but you act out this way regardless. And you can look at the behavioral patterns. Okay, how am I like when I'm stressed? Okay, list. I become combative. I become transgressive. I become aggressive. I become impatient. You are getting a certain picture. Okay, right? That is how you are when you're stressed. That's how you are when things are maybe getting a bit heated. That does say something about your type. But they're not just, they're very specific traits that happen when you are under pressure, when you're not really healthy, when you're not doing well. It becomes even more exaggerated, you know? And I understand finding your neurotic need is difficult Because, for example, I type as a social 8. We don't really have the social 8 book at all, right? And so we don't really know the ins and outs of the neurosis of the social 8. So in a sense, I don't know what my neurosis is. Like, I can maybe intellectually understand, oh, it's complicity, right? Okay, complicity, just blah 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 blah, right? I can understand that, but on a really more detailed way, where I am so, everything I do is a cause of neurosis, it's hard for me to grasp, which I believe is just because there's no book, so keep that in mind. Okay, let's keep going. Let's not stop. We cannot be fucking stopped.
We cannot be fucking stopped. Did we tell our audience what's the name of our podcast?
Now go ahead. What's the
so
name?
The name of our podcast is Typology Odyssey, and we really need to put that somewhere here. But going forward, we're going to be doing this stream a lot more consistently. It's going to be me and Rust, R&R, Ring and Rust and Ring, because we didn't want to decide whose name goes first. We're so democratic.
I don't care. I really don't care.
I don't care either. I don't care you more.
I don't care more than you. Yeah.
So we just call it R&R. R&R is Typology Odyssey. We're going to be doing this consistently at this time, or try to be, the holidays are coming up. What's going to happen with that. I gotta say hi to fam and stuff, right? But yeah, this is the name of the stream. It's going to be Typology Odyssey. We're going to focus a lot on Enneagram for sure, for my Enneagram folks out there. But we might do, streams and other focus on other typologies as well. And definitely at the end of this stream, we'll be taking non-Enneagram questions for you all. I know you have a ton of those. So just want to keep you in mind that you are watching Typology Odyssey.
I mean, wow, what the fuck? That was like an intro speech. That was very good. That was very good, man. Wow. This guy's good at it, guys. It's kind of like he's getting paid for this. Like he's actually not getting paid for this, but yeah. By the way, let's go. Honored Channel was asking an interesting question. Each other points confuse me because because of its different domains and broadness. Basically, how broad things are. How would you guys summarize each domain? I mean, each point. Oh, this is you. This is all you, because you are very good with each other.
So this person wants me to summarize every single point.
Yeah, it's difficult, right?
Wow. It's very time consuming.
It's time consuming. Yeah, sorry. You have to be specific. Honored channel. If you want an answer, you have to tell us. I want this type explained. But going 9, it would take
it's too much.
So long. It's too much. It would take us fucking 10 minutes just to do that, and the rest of the chat would be fucked up.
And this is what I'll do for you, right? Go on my link tree. On the 3rd tab, there's this book called The Enneagram of Fixations. Go ahead, skip to chapter 7, and it's already very short for each point. Go through that. If you have any questions, then ask me those specific questions. But I believe in your comprehension. Try it out, and then come back to me about it. If you have questions, even in the stream after reading it, please go ahead.
Yo, Vlix is so crazy, bro. This is what people don't understand. This is the social 2. Like, it's like RR, like RR Rings and Rust Typology Odyssey, and Vlix is like, that's where you should put my name. No one even talked about this guy, but he's already in that name. He's already leading it. That's the humility of the social 2, guys. You can't make it the fuck up, I'm telling you. But we like him regardless. We love him.
Yo, shoutouts to V, yo.
Yeah. Ring around the rusty, bro. This sounds kind of fucking weird. Someone says ring around rusty. Mally was saying ring around rusty. That's some almost kind of homoerotic shit, which, yeah.
Yo, the chat. Yo, shout outs to the chat. Y'all always got something fun to say, for sure.
LIE Social 7 VLFE. Good call.
Thank you. That is my typology. I identified with the Social 7, the LIE, the VLFE.
By the way, I just put the stream's name You know, like, I basically asked him, you know, he told me just put the fucking same stream name. That's what I did. So, because I was kind of running out of time, and yeah.
Yeah, next time. Every time we do it better. That's how R&R does it, okay? We always keep improving here.
What charlatan, bro? He's already promoting this thing. God damn it.
If R&R stands for anything, it's right and ready, and we're always right and ready for your questions.
He fucking thought about this shit on spot. There's no script. There's literally no script. Rust, how does 2F manifest in SP5? Okay, I'll tell you.
Oh, I love this one.
Okay, just make sure no one's listening. Like your mom. So, do you know how we think of the 5 core as the basement dwelling geek? Okay. Now, do you know that basement dwellers are kind of known for jacking off too much? Right? They don't do anything other than jerk off. So think about this. SP5 is the guy who jerks off all fucking day and is kind of smart, but has a shade of autism. That's how 2F works. That's how he's processing the physics. He's processing it all fucking day.
These people are gonna clip you and be like the real busted typology. They're gonna take you seriously.
No, I'm joking, guys. I'm joking. No. Okay. On a serious note, they start saying I'm an Enneagram 7 because I made a joke, or a sexual 2 because it was like a joke about jerking off. But on a serious, I swear. Oh my God. So on a serious note, I'll be honest with you. I'm not gonna fucking lie. I'm not gonna like bullshit. I'm not gonna say I'm a fucking genius. I'm an expert. I will be honest to God, when I don't believe in God. I don't have any fucking idea how 2F works with SP5. Like, I'm honest here. I have no fucking idea. Literally, no idea.
Oh, you're serious about that?
I'm serious. I have no idea. Like, I have no idea. Like, maybe if you ask me, I could think, oh, they kind of want to feel security, and they're little fucking minimalistic environment, their little toys and shit, you know. Okay, but I feel like that's not as detailed. That's kind of my Typology answer, which is not the best, you know.
I will say that once again, not a fan of these correlation topics. I will talk about it on occasion if I feel like it. They're really boring.
I'm tired. I'll be honest. I'm tired because, you know, that's all just correlations. And my thing is, I understand if you're asking to gain knowledge. That's why I would never want to bash you, because I know you're doing this to learn, which is fine. Which is, if you're gonna ask about correlations, at least ask for that particular reason, because I can respect the reason. But people who's like, oh fucking, am I this, am I that, am I fucking this correlation? I don't like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then this is what we're trying to do with this podcast, and why we're really taking it to the next level. We're trying to go deeper within each system, especially Enneagram. We're trying to learn more. It's great if correlations help you. No, definitely, Russ is not an anti-correlationalist. I wouldn't consider myself them. I think they're interesting. But I don't think that every conversation, and we see this in the community all the time, how many conversations of typology that you had in the community that ends up with that combination doesn't exist, so I won't talk to you about Enneagram or socionics or PY or anything. We're going to talk about how these systems connect or don't connect.
Yeah.
This is our problem, and that's why R&R stands for we look deeper into each system. Okay?
Yes, and our stance on correlations, of course, people will see me and see my name and think, oh my God, correlations, he makes me so mad because he's fucking just correlations. That's why your mom never loved you, obviously. But on a serious note, it's kind of like people have a very simplistic idea of correlations and how people use correlations. For example, me. I can be the same person who's going to argue with you to death that a combination cannot fucking work, and I don't give a fuck what you're going to present. I don't give a shit. But I can also be the same person who's going to fight against a rigid correlation, believing that is way too fucking far and you should look at it individually. So what I'm saying is, to correlations, there is a balance. There is balance. Some things are so contradictory that they shouldn't be fucking entertained. But some things there's a debate. For example, IEE, for example, IEI is fucking 7. And I base 7. There are some kind of conversations to be had. Now I'm gonna too much fucking mac and cheese, you know. But that's kind of that's why this happens. So correlations are a tool, and even if you don't believe in them, it doesn't really change shit because they will exist regardless. So at least understand it and then utilize it in a way that benefits you. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and I agree with that idea. You know, Russ and I don't always agree on what are correlations or not, but you know what we both agreed on, that typology itself is a tool. It is to help you understand yourself, others, and society at large. It is to be used to develop yourself and transform into a healthier person. If correlations allow you to successfully do that, which it has. I've seen correlations help people find their real type. Great, amazing.
It can mislead people. I'm not gonna fucking sit here and tell you that's not true. I'm not gonna be the one. No, correlations are perfect. They will fuck you up. But many things can fuck you up. Many things can mislead you if you don't apply it correctly. That's all it is. That's all it is. So they can be harmful or they can be useful. The way I would approach correlations is like it's a spreadsheet with combinations. Do not start from the spreadsheet. Which correlation can I be? No, that's wrong. Start from individual systems. Okay, I'm just gonna learn Enneagram. I'm gonna fucking look. Cool. You discovered your Enneagram. Discover your socionics. Only then look at the spreadsheet. Okay, combination. Then you can be like, this combination doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Don't just get butthurt. They say it doesn't work. They say... You are dumb fuck if you do that. You're not using your brain. Okay? Why doesn't it work? Okay, they say X, Y, and Z. But I relate to those things for sure. I'm not sure maybe about the sociotype, but about this specific thing in Enneagram, I relate to. 100%. Could bet my money on. Okay, look into something else that might have the same characteristics. So you can use fucking correlations and benefit from them as long as you know how to do it. And this applies to everything in our life. Humans simply misuse tools. That's all. Same thing, same way it happens in typology.
Yeah, dude. Same way humans use hammers to build things, they also use those same hammers to destroy.
Yeah, anti-correlationists are ignoring the fact that typology rests on assumption that we all possess a relatively consistent and self-assess. I think, to me, anti-correlationists, from what I've seen, I've argued with many, and they are usually, this is not, I don't know how else to say it, they're not very smart. And by not smart, I mean they haven't educated themselves enough. Simple as. Simple as. They haven't read the fucking book. For example, you go on PDB, someone asks, can ESI social form exist? Yes. Why? No explanations whatsoever. If a combination sounds cool, yes, it exists. There's no fucking reasoning. And when you ask those people, you clearly find out there's no reasoning. They don't know why the fuck this shit doesn't work. They don't. I've seen this guy crying, oh, SE sexual fucking 2, it fucking works. And then I read his arguments, and he's like, well, sexual 2 is an SE valuer because they're aggressive, they have to be SE valuer. And it's like, you clearly don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like,
yeah, Russ, I think you're making some great points. And I think our excellent mod team is actually handling the correlations questions right now. So we can actually talk more about Enneagram for the time being. And then maybe in like 18 minutes, we can open up to all questions.
I kind of go fucking heated.
Nah, bro, we like it. We all come on. People tune into the stream because they like the energy. They like our personalities. So, for sure.
Okay,
they like to see the side of you too. You know. There was two questions I wanted to answer. There was a kind of a semi-meme question that Death AE said, "Is it okay if I type anyone I don't like as a four core?" Now, obviously, the short answer is
No.
no, that
Is
doesn't
this
make
a serious
sense.
answer? Is
But
this a serious question?
I want to take it and make it a serious one.
Who asked
Because
it? Who asked it?
Death AE, Deathwind AE, right? Um, I want to take it, right? The reason why I want to take it is because here we have someone maybe being funny in the chat, haha. But
I
people
know, I know, I
actually
know. It might be a
associate.
joke. It might be a joke.
No, no,
But
no, no, no. Yeah, it's this idea that E4s are often given the short end of the stick. Every bad thing, just like 3V and PY, every bad thing that's happened to me, some four core did it. Is an actually a very common, maybe unconscious thought process that people have, especially if you're not the Sigma SP4. The social four and the sexual four get the short end of the stick constantly when it comes to community perception. And I think that that's why I want to take this question seriously, that most people misattribute these things. Like, for example, the sexual four is a school shooter, and this social four is some, like, like loser who just
I know.
cries to bed at
It's
night.
they just use it to stereotype people and just yeah. Hate type. It's just a fucking hate type. That's what the fuck this is. That's what this is.
So
And I know
I'm
four cores.
happy.
I know four
Yeah.
cores. My own wife
Well,
is a
yeah.
fucking four core. She's one of the strongest people I've met. And she's not strong because she's a Sigma stoic person. No. It's because despite the sensitivity, she's enduring. And to me, that is what tough is. It's not, people say, wow, 8 core, you're tough. You're tough, 8 core. To me, toughness is not, if I'm not aware of my issues, if I'm not aware of my own fucking coping, I'm not tough. That's kind of like, that's just me fucking living life and my brain doing everything for me. That's not tough. Tough is to be suffering and to be sensitive and then overcome it. That takes
Yeah,
fucking balls. So
it
I
does.
fuck with four cores. Individualistic, very raw, very authentic. I love that shit.
If there's something you're going through in life that you feel like people wouldn't understand for one reason or another, then you don't have to be an E4. There's an E4 out there that's going to understand. E4s are naturally empathetic. They can't. They're very sensitive to people's
They are.
plights, Even the sexual four. And that's one of the positive traits. Shout outs to Oath here, who has made a nice summarization of the SP4 and the sexual 4 currently on the PDB board and also on the Rust Typology server
Yeah, yeah.
that shows the positive aspects of these types as well. So shout outs to Oath, aka
Yep.
Alina. Um, but there was one more question. I did see it, even though it took it the third time. Shibo, I got your question here. I feel really guilty if I don't answer it. The question is, tell us about how your neurotic need manifests and looks in action compared to the book description. So, Russ, you want to go first, and for social 8, and then I can do social 7.
Can you? Sorry, I got a message on my phone. Can you? Can you?
You're
can,
good. You're good.
can you repeat?
The question that Shibo had was, I just totally lost it like a crazy person.
No, it's okay.
Um, the question was, can you describe your neurotic need and its manifestation and how it differs from the book?
You should do it because I mean, you have the book.
Oh,
Like
right, right. There's no E8 book, yo. The trauma point. There's no E8 book.
it would be a bit hard for me to be like, it's difficult. But we'll see. When the book comes out, I'm gonna tell you what I think.
I totally forgot. Oh my god, it's
Go.
so
It's
funny.
you. It's you, man.
It's posited that there are many neurotic needs for the social 7. The primary one is this compulsion, is this desire to be seen, witnessed by others and themselves as being extraordinary. And this is similar, actually, to the social 5, who also seeks extraordinary ideals. For me, I found that because I typed myself social 7 after a year of doing a deep dive in Enneagram. It took me some time to figure out, and now I'm very settled onto the type. I found that everything that I've done up to this point in my life at some level was to uphold these ideals that I thought made someone great, made someone a good person, made someone different and special. And I would be the smartest in the room, like E2s, be the most capable, have the most ideas, and be this very charismatic person who
Everything
can
he
do it
does
all.
is a neurotic need. The fact he's on this fucking stream talking about how
Yeah.
amazing this stream is, this literally just part of the neurotic need. I know, I'm not trying to be. This is true.
No,
Like,
he's right.
it's true.
It's a crazy thing when you realize, because once you understand your neurotic need, what you fixated on, the one of the biggest things that could tell if something's a neurotic need is every time you quote unquote drink and have that need provided to you,
Yeah.
it's almost like you're as thirsty or more for that same amount of hit.
You do more and more.
And it's fucked up.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
it's a drug
realized
addiction, man.
it's a drug addiction,
Yeah.
and I realized how much of my life has been so I can feel like I have uphold my ideals, that I am this person who is like above the heavens, which is cringy to say, but it's true. And I was a slave to my own ideals. I think that the book does a really great job of showing you examples of that. For your average social seven, it could be just someone who's just really kind, altruistic, wants to listen to you, wants to leave you with a funny joke and a good moment, and then they kind of leave.
It's so funny.
And
It's such small things. It's such small
it's
behaviors.
small things.
You never think
Exactly.
it's a neurotic need, right? Like, that's what's so insane to me. That's why I can't wait for the book for my own type, because I'm sure I do so much shit that's related to the neurotic need, even without realizing it. That's cool. That's so cool. That's such an interesting thing about the neurotic need.
And that's what it is. And so I'm so excited for you, Rust, to be able to get the E8 book, hopefully within the next 4 to 5 months. So you can also feel exactly like this and be like, wow, I'm a fucking sham, aren't I? You know, the things I've done unconsciously were to replicate some weird childhood traumatic relationship I had with my parents in one way or another.
Wow.
You know?
Wow, you put. Thanks, bro, for putting it that way. Well, I'm just, fucking PTSD. All of this
Bro.
brotherhood shit, it's just because your father never loved you when you're la 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 la,
Oh, your mother told you a lot of things about yourself. They weren't true, and you associated those nice things with love, and now you have fake relationships with
So
everybody around you.
weird. It's so weird.
And
Anyway.
it's so good too.
Let's see what else we have. Can you talk about the inexpressiveness of the SP8? I want to talk about this because I genuinely think it's one of the most misunderstood things. Because, of course, we went from now we believe that the SP is the coldest, the most inexpressive. It is the coldest of the eights, but all eights are very visceral. All eights are very intense. There's no exception, and SPA is one of those types too. Now, when you think about expressiveness, we think of like maybe the Punisher. He's stoic, he's kind of hard, he doesn't laugh, he's serious. But the truth is, Punisher doesn't really represent an average SP8 very well when it comes to expressiveness. I know an SP8, Ring knows him too, we've played with him, and he is someone who can be very expressive. Like, if you get him to talk and you're in a group environment with his friends and everyone's having fun, this is a place for him. He's gonna be, he's gonna be boisterous, he's gonna laugh out loud, he's gonna be expressive, poke and have fun with it. This is not someone who is, oh my god, he's so serious, he's so stoic, he's so reserved. No, not at all, So I think we are underestimating SP8's expressiveness. Of course, they tend to be a bit more dry when they're not activated in the mood, when they're not, with all of those people having fun. They can be a bit more reserved seeming, but at the end of the day, they're very intense people. Mm-hmm. That's my kind of take on the SP8.
Yeah, let's keep rapid firing these questions,
Go.
There's another question. I'm literally like, I think I may have missed some. There was a question from Cyanide once again about social
Cyanide
seven.
is based.
Cyanide is, shout outs to Cyanide. Great question, by the way. Ring, I've heard you talk about, I'm paraphrasing because I lost your comment. What you think that the book, the Social Seven subtype section in Glossos could be written better? Why do you
Yes.
say that? And I say that because there is the the language written, the way that the text is formatted, the disorganization. It's all good stuff. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say that the information in there isn't relevant and good. I wouldn't even pay attention to it if it wasn't effective at what it was doing. However, the lack of organization in a coherent way, especially assuming that someone would start from scratch and understand this type, there wasn't this kind of idea that we're teaching someone how to understand this type. It's we're just going to like spew what we know about this type. I will say that your average E7, even if they were social leaning in instinct, they were a social 7, can see themselves more in SP7 than they would in social 7. Why? Because the SP7 sounds like a real person. It sounds like something you can relate to and connect to real life. The way the social 7 section is talked about is too dramatized. It lacks a connection to real life, and you have to start making those connections yourself that this could be a person, because it doesn't sound like it. This doesn't also help that the sexual 5 and the social 7 have probably the most complex neuroses of any of the subtypes, that it does take a little bit to explain it. And I always compare social 5 to social 7. Read the social 5 subtype section in the Avaricia book, right? And you see how quickly it is to understand social 5. This is a person that is still an E5, that still is stingy, that still feels like they have a false lack in their life and vital resources. But they want to define themselves in the social sphere. They want to have a unique place, and they do it through expertise in knowledge, especially if they can have an esoteric connection or a special connection with the knowledge that no one else has. And they define themselves through it. But they're still a little bit socially awkward, even if they're outgoing in that way, particular way. It's so simple, straightforward, And once you understand the super idealization of the social 5 and the totemization, that they look for things in others and they totemize ideas, concepts, places, things, and they want to reach those standards, it's so much easier to understand social 5. The social 7 is like a mess. They give you like a flurry of different information that intersects with each other. It's like this person wants to be charismatic, also they want to be nice. Also, sacrifice isn't really explained well, and they don't even explain how the sacrifice mechanism until like maybe like 90% the way into the second chapter. It's not explained well before me going into like a 20-30 minute rant on this. And just to make sure you leave with something nice, everyone who's listening, the social 7 sacrifice is not just in these big displays of they end their life to save everybody. The sacrifice of the social 7 is for them to consistently repress their natural E7 gluttony, their hedonism, for a display of niceness, of altruism, of benevolence, of selflessness that makes them come across like they're this higher, more realized being. And from that, they get validation for reaching their ideal and others seeing them reach that ideal, which is just another form of gluttony. So sacrifice is not just one big thing that they do. It's not Tony Stark killing himself at the end of fucking Endgames. That's not why he's Social 7, Social 7 is this consistent need to look like a realized being, to be benevolent and help each other. But yeah, great question. That's what I want to end it on before we spend this whole hour doing social seven.
Bro, fucking start yapping, bro. You start yapping.
I would,
it's
bro.
Okay, I yap, you yap too. But there was a question. I remember the coldest type in Enneagram. I would probably say social 1 could be the coldest, with maybe the 5 cores after. But social 1, I think, is pretty fucking cold. But moving on to a more. It was I wanted to, American pragmatist question, very good question, interesting question, hard question. How would you say anxiety and concern manifests in your average SP1 beyond the theory. In my
Ooh.
opinion, and I'm going beyond the theory because I know one SP1, I know someone online who's an SP1. I tapped them a stat. And I would say there is this, I think people take this anxiety too seriously, like, oh, she's always anxious. I think there is a lot of hyper fixation on your own performance, on your own tasks, how things are done. There's a lot of stress. You are high strung. You want to make sure things are right. This is someone who's so fixated on doing the right thing and not expressing too much anger and not being not professional and shit. So very fixated on their performance, doing the right thing, and that's where you should see this worrying. That's where you should see this concern. You know, they are very probably quite neurotic individuals, you know, because of all of this tension in their body and this fixation on perfection aimed inwards. That's the worst thing you can do to yourself when it's aimed inwards. So that's my opinion of that. Maybe it's not that detailed, but that's the way I view it.
I think it's a good one. I worked with an SP1 because I do a confession series, and I posted on the PDB Enneagram board, and I work with people anonymously so they can tell their stories of dealing with their neuroses. So far, I had done a social 4 and an SP1, and if anyone's curious on checking those out, check out the 6th tab on my link tree, and we actually go into an SP1 and social 4 and give you real life examples of how that looks like. The SP1 that I worked with, they had like body issues. They had their hair was falling out of their head trying to live up to the standard, and life dealt them a couple of bad cards in a row, and it was like this huge downward spiral.
It is.
And you can read all about that there. And I don't want to start yapping about
Don't yap
SP1.
away. Don't yap away. I'll pull you back. I'll pull you back.
Thank you, bro.
I got you. Brotherhood, loyalty, unity. I'll bring you back, man. You know this. Okay. And people saying, you know, everything I just said, when I was saying it, I was very aware it sounds very SP3, and it does. You know, that's the thing. SP3 is also stressed and perfectionistic. So those two types are extremely hard to tell apart, honestly. So you have to look at the 3 versus 1 image.
Yes.
God, that's it. That's the best way you can go about it, you know. Let me see. Do we have anything else? Social 1, they can look like type 5. No. Unless by type 5 you mean like actually type 6, social 6. Maybe if you mean by that, but not type 5. Type 5 is very withdrawn and very passive. And, you know, people have this such a weird... cosplayers have a weird impression of types. I had someone come to my YouTube channel saying, lol, did you call the ILI passive? You've no fucking idea what you're talking about. And it's like, how ridiculous do you have to fucking be? Of course I called ILIs passive, yes. And 5 core is also very, very passive type. So there's nothing really fucking comparable with the Enneagram 1. They're very fucking different. Jesus, you know, they're very different.
I want to say there's two things that are majorly in common with social 1 and social 5 that may lead to this problem. The both of these types define themselves by their knowledge. You know, social 1s and social 5s want to be this knowledgeable person who has a special access to knowledge and truth. Fine. And the social 1 and the social 5 are fixated on the social instinct, so it leads them to be neurotic with how they interact with others. The social 1 is actually a little bit hesitant to interact with others if it's not about a topic in which they can assert their moral and intellectual rightness. And social 5 kind of has that similar thing where they kind of only want to talk about that special thing that they're working on. But other than that, E1 versus E5 is so different. Please, Enneagram, fundamentalism. Look into the core, look into the passion.
This shit should be a fucking hashtag.
Yeah, hashtag Enneagram fundamentalism, bro.
Yeah, this should be a fucking hashtag, man. What the fuck?
I agree. We gotta market this. We gotta get shirts out.
You should start doing a fucking job on PDB then. Make a fucking hashtag fundamentalism. Promote that shit, you know?
Hell yeah.
By the way, big shout out to Veronica for doing amazing job with the fucking the links, constant links, and off also. Off and Veronica, you're doing amazing in the chat, keeping everyone informed. Thank you.
And I
Thank
don't want
you.
to forget about Javi holding it down with
Javi
the
also is
correlation
fucking
questions.
Well, Javi, you know what? He's a geek. Javi's super. Javi's smart. Javi is a 7, so he's super fucking. He has that knowledge. He's here to spit knowledge, you know.
So shout outs to the mod team again and again. You're doing
mod team
you're
is
holding
just-
down the line.
The mod team is just. I was thinking, you know, execution is necessary, but I don't think they even need to try. There's they're chilling. Fuck.
What does Thor say in Marvel Rivals? He's like, I love war, but I learned to love peace.
Yeah, that's me. That's how I feel. It's like but for me it's more like, you know what it is? I loved war, but I'm tired of war, you know? Also, if that makes sense. It's like you're too fucking old, you know? All my life
Hell
was
yeah,
the
dude.
same shit. All my fucking life. But I'm too fucking old, you know? It's like I just want peace. I just want to chill, you know?
Learn something new, you know? Develop yourself. Build bridges.
You should listen to what Shibos just said. Fuck it, we should stop paying. We should stop paying the mods. Guys, no, I'm not joking. If I was making bank, of course I would pay you guys. Like, it's not. I ain't fucking making bank, so no one's getting. I'm not even getting paid for this shit. No, but
This is for our neurotic needs. We're getting paid through that.
yeah. Sid says you go to Javier. Javier, he didn't focus on the right person here, because we're not talking about Javier. You go to Javier to fix up your dog, not for a typology take. Sir, I don't know how I'm supposed to take it. You know what I'm saying? Like, my brain goes like different modes. What's he trying to say here? Why shouldn't I go to Javier for a typology take? Why shouldn't I do that? He has very good typology takes. Do you want to get decapitated? It's a joke. It's a fucking joke. I joke too. See? I fucking joked.
Don't hunt me down.
Guys, it was a fucking joke. It was a joke. It's a joke. I'm kidding. Wait. Is Javi Kami serendipity? I'm sorry, Javi. I don't mean to say serendipity. Serene. I will call you Serene. I feel like that's a good name. Serene. Which reminds me of the movie that was Serene. Amazing movie, by the way. You should see that shit. That was a great movie. Rust is SCE Sexual 6 FEVL. Yes. How the fuck did you know? That's weird. How'd you know that?
Only the paid subscribers know about the secret.
How'd you know
deep
that?
level?
Like,
just
I was actually
typing.
officially typed yesterday as a SCE Sexual 6 FEVL. Because like one F3V, because I am like a hyper materialistic person who like uses materialism to cope with his deficiencies. And obviously, you know, like I'm just all about power and money and status and materials, and I'm obsessed. Look at my room, you know. I mean, do you think a normal person would do this if they were not 1F? No. So you're completely fucking right. Okay, let's serendipity.
Serendipity?
Serendipity. Okay.
Serendipity.
Okay, that made me fucking laugh, bro. I just saw something fucking funny. I saw Shibo in chat saying, flirting versus harassment. Ring joking versus Ross joking. Oh my fucking god.
Wait,
He
is he
said that.
saying when you're joking it's harassment, but when I'm joking
Yeah,
it's
it's
flirting?
flirting, bro. What the fuck, man? That is so fucking mean. I'm kidding. It's not mean. It's funny. Which types are the most conservative and the most liberal? Most conservative, you can definitely expect the fucking sexual 6, probably the social 1, the sexual 1. That's what I'm thinking about, you know. I'm thinking the SP1 could be more on the conservative, the SP8 could be more on the conservative side. So there are a few, you know, the liberals, the 4 course, the Enneagram 4s would be liberal. I would say
E7s.
The 5s would be liberal. 7s would be very, very liberal. So yeah, you know, and with 8s, it kind of depends. It's like, depends. I think socially, they can be very conservative, aka anti-69 gender, non-binary and shit, flying unicorn. They don't believe in that shit, right? Because how the fuck can you believe it? Like, listen, it's hyper-realism. Do you believe in fucking million genders? No. You know, you look at the biology, so that's what the fuck you look at. So, but at the same time, I think they would be libertarian, you know? Libertarian. Like, freedom, fuck the government, and do whatever you want to do. Like, you want to, you know, whatever the fuck. I'm not going to get political, because who the fuck knows, right? I'm not going to get political. But, yeah, let's not lose track. Most conservative sexual 7, yeah. Imagine, conservative sexual 7, that's scary. That's scary.
Wait, this is a conservative sexual 7?
That's scary. That's
I actually, this is funny. This is serendipitous. I thought about this idea of, like, you know, who would be the most successful, like, you know, if someone wanted to convert someone to a religion, right? And I thought, imagine like a religious sexual 7. They'd be like, guys, you guys wanna? I know a place we can hang out on Friday, you know,
guys,
or Sunday.
You wanna get that Delulu Maxing in the church, bro? No, but like, you'll be surprised. I think they could make fucking like great cultists. Cult leaders. I think sexual 7 is actually the cult leader. Like, genuinely, I do think so. By the way, Rem, I know Rem. I've seen Rem many times on stream. Shout out to Rem, very active guy. Ring and Rust intertype relationship is activators. Thinking their interactions make sense. LIE relationship, none of them are mistyped. I would say we fit the intertype relationship very well, right, Ring? What you think? Like, we bounce off each other pretty well, right? I mean,
it's really smooth, you know, and the way these type of intertype when you look at activators, especially with like extroverted activators, it's just like energy that keeps going up because there's no like there's no introverted energy to really bring it down. So when we it's perfect for a podcast.
Yeah. This guy, guys, you don't understand. Like, this guy knew. Like, we started talking. Because obviously we kind of, you know, we know each other quite well.
Oh my god!
Now. But we started talking, and he already knew. He's like, I'm gonna be on his stream. He was like denying that shit. He's like thinking about the future. I will fucking know I'm gonna be on his stream. So I'm like, you fucking knew, you little fucking prick. Fuck you, you know. I'm not gonna let you to my stream because I'm a vindictive, petty motherfucker. I actually didn't say that. I say, bro. Oh my god, of course, right.
it was really funny because when you know, Just Rusted here and Ring got to talking, I was like, oh, we really play off each other really well. We talk really well.
Yeah.
And then I knew that he did like videos and streams. I was just like,
yeah,
this would be perfect as a podcast. And I had this idea like 2.5 months ago, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna let Rust come up to me and be like, you want to do a podcast together? Because I knew that would be the right time.
And you had the patience. Yep. That's the craziest thing. You had the patience. But it was worth it, man. It was worth it. And I enjoy talking to you because it's interesting. I think with many people, some people will say I'm quite rigid, as you know, right? People have polarizing opinions about me. So they say I'm very rigid, unreasonable. Others will say, no, he's actually very open. He's kind of too open. And it's like, it depends on who it is, right? Because I've talked to many people, very rigid. But it's funny, I've never had this issue with you. Because you know how to talk to people. You are the quintessential second logic, to me, in my opinion. Blueprint of the second logic. You're there just to learn. You're there just to have a dialogue. You don't give a fuck about pushing your agenda, disagreeing. Maybe you learn something. It's like, that is what, in my eyes, makes our interaction so smooth. You're there just to have a good conversation, to learn. And that's it. And that's why it makes me maybe kind of have a more relaxed approach when it comes to logical stuff, I can kind of it's easier for me. At least that's how I view it.
Yeah, and I wanna add to that because of course, 2L, very glazed placement in PY. And yes, for everyone, this is your time to start asking even non-Enneagram questions. So you can start thinking about that while we have this conversation.
Ask us any fucking typology question you want.
I'm probably gonna find some way to say this in every stream that we do, every podcast that we do here in Typology Odyssey. I love talking to 3Ls. I love it so much because there's a seriousness.
You are ironically like masochistic. You get off on that shit, You like turn it into pleasure. Like, what are you, an 8 core now? Like, fuck.
Yeah. When I have my E7 lust, I just love talking to people.
He's lustful, but he's lustful with ideas.
And it's just like talking to you. You take it seriously. This is real shit to you.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
But you want to have a conversation about it. It's the two things that I'm like, amazing, great. I want to talk to someone who takes this shit seriously, that they want to do something with it, but they don't want to do it themselves. They don't want to be told how to do it. They want to talk to someone, have a respectful conversation, learn something new, and do something with it. So me as a 2L, and I don't think I'm the best 2L example for sure. I definitely talk a lot less than some of the 2Ls I've seen.
What the fuck?
But I definitely
you're yapping right now. You're yapping. You're not you don't even. Oh fuck you. That's not true. Oh guys, don't fucking fall for this bait. This is his neurotic need, but it's okay. I'll point it out. No, he yaps all the time because you can hear him.
I'm quiet.
See,
I'm introspective. I'm reflexive.
You were fucking look at that chat, motherfucker. Now look, ring big time yapper, biggest yapper, hella yapping. What the fuck you gonna say?
Nah, bro. Serendipity, newly christened as Serene, better yapper than me, confirmed. Okay, he's a better 2L.
Yeah. If he's in any base, he wins. To be honest. The competition, right? But okay, let's look at some questions. Do we have anything? Have seen liberal. Okay, can you talk about sexual 3 masculinity versus 8 masculinity? Interesting topic.
Ooh.
I think when we talk about masculinity, I think it's a hard topic, because when you look at the Enneagram 8, it is described by Neurotic as someone who wants to eliminate weakness and even femininity, because it basically is seen as passivity, and they don't want to have any passivity within them. But the difference is, I think the sexual 3 crafts an image. Okay, what I'm going to tell you is, look at The Rock. Look at a perfect example of The Rock. The Rock is like hyper masculine. Right, like he has everything. The guy is huge. The guy is deep voice. The guy is, oh my god, all the women. He's so masculine. Every woman says he's so masculine, and he is. He is. Now, the thing with that is, in my opinion, is that at the end of the day, it is this ideal of perfection, this ideal of masculinity, this ideal of he's strong. He's capable, he's professional, he's disciplined, he's successful. That's masculinity. With the 8 core, you are dealing with someone who's masculine in a more unfiltered and almost, I don't want to say primitive or barbaric, but that's kind of how it is. It's not really about, they might even seem a bit less masculine than like someone The Rock, you know? You don't look at me like, wow, you're more masculine than the fucking Rock, you know? I wouldn't ever say that about myself. So that's not an issue. But when you go deeper, that's where the differences will be visible. The sexual 3 at the end of the day cares a lot about image. And The Rock is very known for parroting. He's very known for, you know, when people bash him, what does he do? He changes his tunes instantly. And, you know, are those masculine features? You know, are those traits of masculinity? We can argue. While the 8 core is just gonna kind of do his own fucking thing and be barbaric and be a monkey, you know, blah, blah, blah. So there's difference. But the biggest difference is that sexual 3 is a well-crafted image of someone who is simply great. And with the 8 core, you don't have this image orientation. They're much more unpolished. They're much more barbaric.
Yeah, I wanted to add to that because you made some really great points. Yeah. The sexual 3.
I don't even know how to differentiate that well. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm trying.
You did. That was good. That was good because I want to add to that. Right. The sexual 3 is someone who is neurotically fixated on their gender expression and how they interact with others with a favorable gender. You know, generally this is described from a female perspective, with a male perspective, right? A male target. I don't want to say target. It makes it sound like it's like they're stalking them or something. But like they're looking to attract a male suitors in that way, right? The E8, and people would not attribute this about the E8, so I like to bring this up. The E8 is actually weirdly more likely to take control and be open with times where they're not, you know, up to standard, or they have this this moment in their life where they were weak and they had to overcome, where they weren't this perfect like a beacon of like a certain gender. So like they will be like, yeah, I was put in the dirt, you know, I was put into shit, you know. Even like, let's say that they want to, this is a person wants to gender display as a masculine person. They, you know, I was bullied in high school. You know, people picked on me. I wasn't able to always like, you know, win my fights, and people made me feel little. But then I showed them. There's always like a claiming back that experience in a way that they were able to drive their lust and be able to take back that experience. For a sexual 3 who is like gender displaying as mask, they might have a hard time to say that they were bullied, or like to say that people were like, you know, or able to take advantage of them, even though their gender expression is someone who's supposed to be this masculine, strong person.
Yeah,
they will probably not talk to you about that. But E8s,
they will seem like The Rock is such a caricature of masculinity.
Yeah, exactly.
That he's not. You know how there's some maybe 8 cores who are masculine, but they can be goofy. They can let loose and be goofy and fucking. You could never. The Rock is just pure. It's pure performance. It's hyper masculinity. Fucking giga chat sigma. Fucking. That's it. You know, the guy. It's probably hard to be this way, I think. You know, but I don't know. Fuck it. I think. I think it's a weird thing. Be yourself. Don't be a pussy. If I would have a problem with something personally, it's someone being a fucking pussy. Now, of course, nowadays I'm more mature, I'm more grown. But it's not a matter of are you masculine, but don't be a little fucking pussy, okay? Like, I understand, everyone's different, everyone has their problems, but don't be fucking all whining and I like when you suffer, you try to fix your problem. You know, you feel like shit, I understand. Everyone feels like shit. Everyone has that moment. This is normal. Emotions are normal. But what do you do about these emotions? How do you solve this problem? Do you just say, I can't do it, insert fucking excuses? Which triggers me the fuck out. Hate excuses. You know, it's bullshit.
Yeah, and Flow State in the chat actually made a really great point. if the EA is now hiding things of their past, it's like a new form of weakness has been introduced where there's not an inadequacy that you're shameful of something. Like, no, fuck that. I'm going to reclaim that. You know, it's exactly what we're talking about. Where the sexual three can be more of a caricature at times. We're talking about the Drakes and the Rocks of the world. So I really like what you were all saying.
Yeah, like that's true. Yeah, and that's a great point because you can turn like, yeah, I was abused. I was PTSD'd on the daily, and you take the power away from people who think they can shame you for being fucking abused. Or, you take away power from the event by saying, yeah, I was fucking abused. Shit happens. Like, people, the more you care about something, the more you cling to it, that is where your vulnerability is gonna be at. That's what I never understood personally. Like, yeah, everyone got fucking abused, everyone got fucking bullied. Yeah, shit fucking happens. We move on. Literally, like, the fuck. Russ's volume needs to double. What about triple? Are you ready for that? Are you ready for the triple or no?
When Lust interacts with the volume mechanism of Discord.
When Rust interacts with the volume mechanism, shit's gonna be slurped. That's I was PTSD'd on the daily. It is quite a man to the other voice. Bro, I want other people to hear him. That's why. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be fair here. I'm trying to be fair here. And I'm just getting triggered because I'm trying to be fair. You don't see my fairness, I'm triggered. The fuck do I do?
There's 8 minutes left in the stream. Please send us your questions. We will rapid fire all of your questions. And if not, we're going to stream
Male
again.
From masculinity? Bro. Aragorn, bro.
Oh, Aragorn. That's a good one.
God.
Aragorn is such a good one.
Bro. You know what I'm saying? That's the fucking true fucking Sigma, bro. That's a Sigma. Fuck, man. Wow. He's tough, he's powerful, but he doesn't abuse it. He's strong, but he's gentle. And it's so natural for him. You know what I'm saying? He's not excessive. He's just right. He's balanced. Fuck, man. What an amazing example. You mentioned me on my server. Very interesting thing. And I'm gonna answer you once the stream is done. Because, yeah. But temporarily, I don't know any... I've seen the system. I haven't looked too deeply into the system. It kind of seems like PY in a different sort of way. So I'm not too interested. Ring, okay, Ring and Rust distinguish sexual 2 and sexual 3. Can you do it, Ring? Because you
absolutely. And then I'm going to be quick with it. The idea here is remove the sexual instinct influence, right? We could talk about the neurotic need of the sexual 2 and the neurotic need of the sexual 3, right? We were already talking a little bit about that. But if you want the quick and easy way to differentiate what each type is, remove the sexual instinct and then ask yourself, is this a person with overabundance? This feeling and desire that they're capable of beyond their measures, that they can do anything, and they have more to them than others have, that they see others with a lack that they don't have? Or is this a person who has a deceit mechanism, who is an E3, who has chosen a couple of standards in whatever society or community they're in and embody them, become one-to-one with that type of standard, and leave no gaps in terms of that sort of image? That would be the way I would tell everyone, because they're both sexual instincts, and here's the time I'm going to bring up a correlation. Most of the time, sexual 2s and sexual 3s are also going to be ESEs, which only add to more confusion. So really ask yourself, is this a person whose base fundamental component is an E2 with overabundance, or an E3 who's partaking in deceit?
Thank you. Amazing. Now, I'm going to answer something from American Pragmatists, and I have a good answer because I actually studied quite a bit of David Goggins.
Nice.
Making videos and shit, trying to create clips. I had to watch quite a bit of interviews about David Goggins. Is David Goggins a one core? I understand why you might think that, maybe SP1, but I'll tell you a story about David Goggins from his own words, right? David Goggins started as a person who was starved for attention, by his own words. In school, he used to be the clown kid, trying to doing things to garner people's attention, even doing things that were kind of cringe to get people's attention. But no one really liked him. He felt inadequate. He felt not good enough. That's why he was doing this. He wanted to gain attention to cope with the fact that he was a fuck up. He felt like a fuck up. But over a period of time, growing up, he became fucking fat, became obese. Then something happened. He decided to, as he calls it, take all of those demons inside of him. He uses people's voices, like people who insult him, say he's not good enough, he's a piece of shit, he's this, he's that. He sometimes would record people fucking like people's hate comments, and he would play it when he's running, so he can hear this shit in his fucking head. I'm a trash can, I'm a fucking nobody. And he uses this shit. He uses his own pain and his own struggles to cope and to transform this into endurance, right? So that is what I see with I would never imagine a one core being so image oriented. People think Goggins is a Sigma and he does it because he's tough. I'll tell you a secret. David Goggins does what the fuck he does, not because he's a Sigma, but because people are watching. That's the fucking reason. Because at the end of the day, David Goggins goes out and uploads a video. David Goggins makes a fucking book. David Goggins is on TikTok. You'll see him. You see how he endures that. That's what the fuck he wants. He wants to be noticed by it. He's not gonna say it, but that's what he's doing. And on the topic of David Goggins, please don't idolize David Goggins. Don't think he's this cool guy. He's very unhealthy, genuinely very unhealthy, and he is coped beyond belief. This is a man who's not happy with himself. This is a man who lacks contentment and fulfillment. Okay? To be truly healthy and happy person, you need contentment. You fucking need a balance. You need to be able to sit back and enjoy your fucking life, enjoy yourself and who you are without needing to fucking cope by pissing. Running so much, you're gonna fucking piss. And how is that exactly a good fucking example for everyone? Then I see cringe lords and fucking teenage boys obsessing, I'm a fucking David Goggins. The fuck? What the fuck? Well, at least you're not a fucking Nate Jacobs, Kinney. That would be way fucking worse, But let's remember to all of, David Goggins sucks fucking ass. Like, no offense. But that's just, I think it's such a fucking crock of shit. I'm sorry. I had to. I'm sorry, I had to, man. I had to. I got carried away. Okay, I'm reading. Ring just became quiet.
Oh, no, don't mind me. I was listening.
Like, bro lost weight because his coach called him fat.
And I mean those type of comparisons between like SP4, SP1, SP3, those are known comparisons. Even the contemporary Enneagram authors have said so themselves that yeah, you're gonna have a hard time to tell if what you're looking at is an SP4 or an SP3 or even an SP1, until you really get down into like what is the engine driving this person. Now you're gonna get that answer.
I think Tristan Tate is an SP3 actually. I think so. I think he's an SP3 LSE.
Is that supposed to be like Andrew Tate's brother that's like all like kind of has that stereotypical MBTI ENTJ presence?
Yeah. I actually find him much more likable than I find Andrew Tate, to be honest, because he vibes high will, but he doesn't vibe coped. if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
Doesn't vibe coped. Not like he literally is like, yeah, my brother's successful, my brother's great, and I'm glad that my brother is like, you know, I'm sharing spotlight with him. I don't care at all. I don't mind it. Like, not at all. Like, you have to have strong spirit for that.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck does the time go pass so quickly?
You know, when you're having fun, it's what naturally happens.
Yeah, it passes so quickly, man. Fuck.
We're already 2 minutes over the
Yeah,
2 hour
we're 2 minutes
stream.
over. Let's give it 5 more minutes and then.
Yeah, yeah. And even if last questions, give it to us now. If not, don't hold me to this yet. I haven't checked my schedule. Russ hasn't either. And you know, the holidays are coming up. We might be able to do another stream this upcoming Sunday, same time, same channel,
Yeah,
same
I mean,
that
I'm
channel.
up
What is
for
that?
it. I'm up for it. Let me see.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me it works, no problem.
Yeah, I think I should be okay, but you know, we'll touch base off stream. I feel like I'm in my corporate work environment, saying touch base.
That's true. That's true. Ah, fuck it, man. I think it's gonna be time to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Listen, to wrap it up, thank you for everyone that came. Thank you to obviously our mod team for taking care of the business, for keeping people
Absolutely.
occupied and informing people, giving the links. You know, we appreciate that. Make no mistake, we appreciate that. Yeah, might have to make a special role for that to give you guys gratitude. But it was a good fucking stream. Obviously, thank you to Rain for being here. I love this stream and this has a lot of potential. So that's it from me.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure talking to you, Russ. And once again, this is Typology Odyssey. We're gonna keep doing this. We're gonna do it bigger and better. If you have suggestions, please let us know. You guys make the stream what it is.
Yeah.
And of course, it's always a pleasure talking to you again, Rust, about
Of course,
our
man,
favorite
like,
topics,
come on,
right?
bro? Like, now we're gonna fuck up and do a thing, you know? Like, but it's not homoerotic, just so you guys know, okay? Because you might be fucking. It's not homoerotic.
Shout outs to our girlfriends. Oh no, sorry, your wife and my girlfriend. That
works.
It's not homoerotic.
Yeah, you nearly go fucking butchered. Like,
I
yeah.
was like, oh god, oh god, oh god.
Let me fix it. Yeah. No, but okay, we're out. Thank you, everyone. It was amazing. See you next Sunday.
R&R
Let's keep it
ship
up.
drop.
Let's keep it
Yeah,
up.
see you next Sunday.